right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year's Eve day. Right? As Kay mentioned, the date makes this 123, 123 thing, which, you know, if you're into astrology or numbers or energy, we're looking at this as a really good thing because there's lots of good things happening and great things coming up. Thank goodness, because I don't know about you guys, in a few hours, 2023 will be over, and my feelings are not going to be hurt. I'm serious. I know it is a man-made thing, and we have our attachment to it, but sometimes we as humans do need some nice milestones of stop, start, and end, and beginnings. But seriously, I want to bring a light to something that I think it's not talked about much. And in this way, anyway. You know, the last several years, at the best, can be considered chaotic, right? You know, there was a few years there that were just embedded in fear, where we didn't know whether we were coming, going, up, down, right, left. There was so much anxiety and it created so much separation and negativity sometimes, and people taking sides and things like that. And that's not what this is about. It's not about what was right or wrong or what side you were on or not on. What I want to talk about is the fact that the powers that be came up with a calculation and decided it was over, right? The restrictions were lifted and it's over. Really? I don't know about you guys, but I kind of laugh at that. Because not only is the physical still affecting us in lots of ways, but I don't know that there's a lot of attention given to the mental and emotional stuff that we went through being under chronic stress for so long. Even after it was over, it's still unwinding. And I think sometimes we're like, well, I don't feel great, this is really, you know, and sometimes I think it's still that underlying stuff that's coming out. The takeaway that I want us to have here is that it's a challenge to trust. It's a challenge to trust the timing of the divine, and be aware of the fact that there's so many unseen things going on that we might not even be aware of. Even if we are aware of them, we have so little control over it. So it's our challenge to not fall into the discouragement, because that's real easy to do. As Polly mentioned one day, it's so easy to jump on that bandwagon when somebody starts that roll, that you're like, yeah, that's right, and yeah, this happened, and you know, to not be a part of the problem, to actually try to keep ourselves in a place of staying motivated and maybe even excited on what it is that we really want to come from it. And I think the skill that's good for us is to learn how to appreciate the here and the now of everything. Holding on to the fact, the one thing guaranteed, it's gonna change, no matter what. That's it. Now, staying in that place of gratitude and love can sometimes be challenging, but that's really what we need to do it the most. And I know it sounds so kind of trite and simple, but when you're struggling to stay in that place of gratitude and love, just keep trying to keep putting yourself in that place, because the more you do it, the better it's going to be. And if it helps to think of it this way, is that when you are reaching higher levels of consciousness, as my son, the video gamer, would say, you're leveling up. Yeah, we're leveling up. That oftentimes during that time, our old fears are going to surface. And it's not meant to deter you, whether it's I'm not enough, abandonment, not wanting to be alone, not being wantable, not being lovable, whatever little sneaky things, you know, come to nip at us. No matter how unsettling those things are, what they're really letting us know is the power that we gave to that path, and that we don't need to give the power to that path anymore, that we can rise above them. we can level up. Now, somebody made this for me a while back. This is a replica of a mic, so I can drop it and not cause any damage. So I think I finally found my moment. Not only am I gonna not rip it off my side, but you know, this is it. Because our ultimate goal, I don't care what the situation is, I don't care what the question is, do you know what the answer is? Love. It is. It's love. It really is. It's putting ourselves in that place of love. Not separation within or without. Not hate within or without. It's love, because really the frequency and energy of love is the place we all can elevate in. That's it. So I'm glad I got to finally use that. Cassidy's the one that made that for me, thank you. Just so you know, you have an electromagnetic field around you, and it comes from your heart. Now, I'm not saying the beautiful organ that pumps blood and sustains our life. I'm talking about our heart, our essence. It's who we are. This radiates out, and people feel it. So if people can feel it, you can feel others, right? It's a good thing to embrace, be aware, and perhaps even protect this precious, beautiful thing. Not out of fear, just so that we can continue to evolve. Because we talk about contagious stuff, but we don't talk enough about the fact that unhappiness can be contagious. Fear can be contagious. Gossip can be contagious. Separation can be contagious. But the flip side of this is, so is happiness. So is acceptance. So is inclusion. So is love. And so is light. So when you raise your vibration, make sure that you're protecting it by surrounding yourself by lovely people that support it, encourage it, and you guys are mutual, it's reciprocal. That's success. That's us living our purpose. So, seek the light that is within you. The consciousness, because that's where your consciousness is going to expand. And not necessarily contingent on anything outside of you, because this is the thing that trips us up sometimes. But when we let go of the fear and the repression is when we free that inner light and love within ourselves. And that is where our true peace and relief is at. So when I talk about protecting it, try not to let people steal your peace. Now, they can't really steal it, but they can draw your attention away from your own peace. So that's what I mean by protect it. Keep yourself centered in your peace. And we do this because we love people. We're concerned about people. We're givers. You know, we're caretakers. But it's about balancing that, because truly, we're not responsible for anybody else, at least their spiritual path. We're not here to necessarily tell anybody how to be or think or do or feel. You can't really teach anybody anything unless they want it anyway, right? So the thing we can do, though, to help them is to work on ourselves, to be that love and light, because that's the greatest gift of all, is for us to be that and to give it and to receive it. Because your actual natural state of being, what the divine intended us to be, is love all the time, and to be operating and acting from love all the time. But again, it happens. Sometimes we let the things outside of us affect us. As we maintain that peace, it's so important to understand what often trips us up is fear. Now, there's two acronyms for fear. The one is forget everything and run, right? The other one is face everything and rise. And it's a choice how you choose to let this fear affect you or not affect you. Do you run, or do you face it and rise above it? I learned something interesting about the bison. Somebody had posted something, and I actually researched just to make sure this was correct. But when there's massive storms on the plains, many times like the cow type animals and different things like that will huddle together and just herd and try to get through it. They just try to, you know, do the best they can through it. The bison, however, will actually turn and face the storm and walk into it. Now think about that. Any of the herding things, they're going to be affected by the entire storm, no matter how fast or how slow it moves, they're going to be affected by it all. And if they try to run from it, they're also going to get the entire storm, the entire time, and maybe even extend it. But the bison, turning around and facing the storm, is actually going to move out of the storm much faster. We can maybe learn something from this. Confronting our obstacles, no matter what. The worst thing you can do is really run from it, avoid it, you know. And whereas facing it is much more of an effective way to like expose yourself to less of the storm as possible. So let me tell you this. Interesting little tidbit. Crowds follow each other, while masters follow the divine. What do we want to do? Do we want to be in the crowd, in the herd, or do we want to rise above as our individual selves from a place of love? And actually, I think a lot of times the suffering and the hurt that we encounter in life is because the human and the soul and the divine are so interconnected. Our soul and our human part of us desire and crave that connection with the divine. And the more we create and connect and invest in that relationship and connection with the divine, that again is where our peace and relief really is. So sometimes when we go about fixing our lives, when we think about trying to fix them, change them, whatever, that can be kind of overwhelming. So just as a suggestion, take just one thing and start adding something good into your life. Small stuff. It's where all the small stuff start to, the tiny habits, thank you, Polly, that continue to add up until you have a lot of good. I know we've all heard an elephant can be eaten one bite at a time. Make every bite enjoyable. And it could be the ritual of making a cup of tea. It could be the ritual of sitting for a few moments and petting your cat or whatever it is. Just these little things. Even Esther Hicks talks about it. If you had 5 things happen in your life and 4 of them were awful, horrible, terrible things, focus on the good thing. Keep focusing on the good thing. I want you guys, as we enter 2024, and I was joking, sort of joking about really being okay with letting go of 2023, but I'm serious. But I also want us to be proud of the fact, even if you survived 2023, that's okay. You know, if you happen to thrive, good for you. I'm looking for thrival, that's it, mine's my word. Thriving in 2024. But I want you to be proud of yourself, because in these last couple years, there's been a lot of silent battles fought. There's been setbacks that you've overcome. There's been darkness that you have wiped your own tears during that time. You should be proud of yourself. Pat yourself on the back and celebrate everything, because you're here. You're here now to be who you are meant to be. My wish for us all is to open this new year with magic, with fulfilled dreams, with good madness, lots of hugs, lots of kisses, lots of laughter, lots of love, lots of fun, lots of family, smiles, creativity, whether it's on a canvas, in your yard, in your home, in your heart. Be creative. Surprise yourself with expanding yourself out in those little bites, those little good things to start accumulating more of those good things. Because truly, the goal is expansion of our consciousness, to really uncover the love that we are, to welcome it, to embrace it, to become it, to live from it. That is the greatest gift you can give yourself and the world. Namaste.